nearly a century, the Colombo crime family has stood as one of the most volatile and self-destructive of New York's infamous five families. Unlike the secretive and methodical operations of the Gambino or Genovese families, the Colombos seemed drawn to conflict, both from within and against the outside world. From its founding by Joseph Profaci in 1928 to its peak under Joe Colombo, the family became synonymous with internal rebellions, assassinations, and even an unprecedented public campaign against the FBI. The organization's history is marked by power struggles that frequently spiraled into full-scale wars, leaving a trail of bodies, betrayals, and shattered alliances in its wake. The height of this turmoil came in 1971, when Joe Colombo, the man who rebranded the family and attempted to merge mob life with civil rights activism, was gunned down in broad daylight in an attack that remains one of the most mysterious in Mafia history. What makes the Colombo family so captivating is its repeated inability to maintain order within its own ranks. While most Mafia organizations operated under the rule of omertà, the strict code of silence, the Colombos constantly found themselves in high-profile conflicts, splintering into factions that often turned their guns on each other. Whether it was the rebellion of Joe Gallo against Profaci in the early 60s, the war between Carmine Persico and Victor Orena in the early 90s, or Joe Colombo's very public defiance of both the FBI and his fellow bosses, the family's story is one of ambition gone awry. The Colombos were not just another Mafia family, they were a ticking time bomb, and their reckless pursuit of power and notoriety ensured their near total downfall. Even in later years, the family found itself at the mercy of unexpected enemies, including an imposter priest who scammed them out of millions under the guise of laundering their dirty money through the Vatican. Joseph Profaci was not just another gangster. He was a businessman with a criminal empire cloaked in legitimacy. Born in Sicily in 1897, he immigrated to the United States in 1921 and quickly built a fortune through legal and illicit ventures. By 1928, after the conclusion of the bloody Castellamarese War, Profaci was handed control of one of New York's five families. He ran his operation like a corporation, using his olive oil import business, Mamma Mia Importing Company, as a front for money laundering. His network extended into loan sharking, gambling, and extortion, and he established deep-rooted connections with powerful figures in the city's political and business elite. However, Profaci's leadership style was one of strict financial control. He demanded absolute loyalty, but refused to share the wealth, breeding resentment among his underlings. In one of the most bizarre moments in mob history, this tension boiled over when he demanded his men contribute to a fund for Christmas turkeys. His young, ambitious enforcer, Joe Gallo, refused, triggering an all-out rebellion that would lead to one of the bloodiest conflicts in the family's history. This resentment came to a head in the late 1950s when the Gallo brothers, Joe, Larry, and Albert, saw Profaci's rule as oppressive and outdated. In 1961, they staged an unprecedented coup, kidnapping several of Profaci's top men, including underboss Joseph Magliocco. They demanded a redistribution of the family's wealth, but Profaci, ever the strategist, pretended to negotiate while secretly ordering a series of ruthless hits on Gallo's associates. A brutal war broke out between the Profaci loyalists and the Gallo faction. But before Profaci could fully eliminate the threat, fate intervened. He succumbed to liver cancer on June 6, 1962. His death created a power vacuum, setting the stage for a new leader to take the throne, one who would take the family in a direction no one could have predicted. After Profaci's death, Joseph Magliocco took over as boss, but his reign was short-lived. In a desperate bid to solidify his power, he joined forces with Bonanno boss Joseph Bonanno in a plot to assassinate rival Mafia leaders. When the plan was discovered, Magliocco was forced to step down by the Mafia Commission, which oversaw the five families. In a surprising move, the commission chose Joe Colombo, a mid-level capo, to lead the family. At just 41 years old, Colombo became the youngest Mafia boss in New York, and unlike his predecessors, he saw an opportunity to do something radical: make the Mafia a public force. His leadership marked a sharp departure from the traditional secrecy of La Cosa Nostra, and his controversial actions would make him both a legend and a target. In 1970, Joe Colombo founded the Italian-American Civil Rights League, a bold initiative aimed at pressuring the FBI and media to stop using the word mafia to describe Italian criminals. His rallies drew thousands, including politicians and celebrities, and at one point, his campaign successfully forced the FBI to halt the use of the term mafia in official documents. But while his followers saw him as a champion for Italian Americans, his fellow mob bosses saw him as a reckless liability. The mafia thrived in secrecy, but Colombo was dragging them into the headlines, making himself, and by extension, La Cosa Nostra, a target for both law enforcement and enemies within the underworld. His actions would soon lead to one of the most shocking and public assassination attempts in mob history. On June 28, 1971, the second annual Italian Unity Day rally was in full swing at Columbus Circle in Manhattan. Thousands of supporters gathered to hear Joe Colombo speak, celebrating their growing movement against discrimination. The crowd was packed with reporters, politicians, and everyday Italian Americans, unaware that the event was about to take a dark turn. As Colombo made his way through the crowd, shaking hands and smiling for cameras, Jerome Johnson, a so-called photographer, approached him. Without warning, Johnson pulled out a handgun and fired 3 shots into Colombo's head and neck. Chaos erupted as Colombo collapsed, blood pooling around him. In a flash, Johnson was swarmed by Colombo's bodyguards and shot dead on the spot, ensuring that whatever secrets he held died with him. Some believe that Joe Gallo himself orchestrated the hit, having built strong ties with black gangsters while in prison, a theory that gained traction when Gallo was executed in Little Italy just a year later. Colombo survived the attack, but remained in a vegetative state for 7 years, never regaining consciousness before his death in 1978. But the bigger mystery was who ordered the hit. Some believed it was Carlo Gambino, the most powerful mafia boss in New York, who had grown tired of Colombo's reckless media presence. Others suggested the FBI had orchestrated it, as Johnson had suspicious ties to government agencies. Regardless of who was responsible, Colombo's downfall marked the beginning of the end for his family. His decision to step into the public eye had backfired spectacularly, leaving the organization vulnerable to both law enforcement and internal betrayal. Following Colombo's incapacitation, the family spiraled into disarray. Leadership was eventually seized by Carmine "the Snake" Persico, a shrewd and ruthless figure who would go on to serve as boss for decades, mostly from behind bars. However, his rule was constantly under threat. In the late 1980s, a new challenger, Victor Orena, emerged, believing that Persico's long-term imprisonment had weakened the family's standing. What followed was the Second Colombo War, 1991 to 1993, one of the deadliest internal conflicts in Mafia history. During this time, Persico continued running the family from prison, using hidden codes in newspaper ads, a testament to his ability to maintain power despite his confinement. In the end, the Colombo crime family serves as a testament to a fundamental truth about organized crime. The greatest threat often comes not from law enforcement, but from within. For a family that once ruled New York's underworld, its ultimate downfall was not due to outside pressure. It was their own inability to trust each other.